We are live on a Wednesday for another SNL show. My name is Lane.
And I am Scott. We are in studio and ready to rock and roll with another episode of the SnL show.
Yeah, today's topic, we're going to be talking about the path to homeownership. We have an awesome infographic that we're just going to kind of walk it through. So anybody that's looking that might not have been in the marketplace and maybe thinking about getting into your first home, this will be a great tool for you to use because we're going to follow each step on how to become a homeowner.
Absolutely. And for many of our clients and friends that might be watching that are going to be helping their kids buy that first home, paying it forward so you can see your grandchildren grow up in their brand new home, this is going to be information for you as well, because we know a lot of folks out there are helping the kids with the down payment and helping them on the journey.
Maybe the process has changed too since they've last purchased. So we'll probably discuss some of those topics as well. So let's pull up the infographic if you
bet.
The path to homeownership, number one, save for your down payment.
Let's get started with that. And again, that ties into what we were just talking about. So many people today are realizing that it is taking a considerable amount of money to get that down payment saved, get into the first home. And you want to get on a plan. You want to set your budget up, figure out where you are, what's going to be needed for that home. Depending on the type of loan you go with, there are VA loans available with no money down, FHA loans with 3.5% down, and then it kind of goes up from there, from 5 to 10 to 20 or more percent down. All of those will determine your likelihood of being able to get accepted in a multiple offer situation, but that's kind of down the line. The first order of business is to kind of determine where your finances are. Lane, thoughts?
Yeah, when you're determining where your finances are, the amount that you're putting down also affects your overall monthly payment. We're also seeing a lot of buyers in this marketplace maybe adjust the down payment to be a little bit lower than they normally would. And the reason why is because rates are so low, so they're taking advantage of the low rates and maybe financing more. So because it doesn't affect their overall what they can afford overall on a monthly payment. So yes, have that plan, figure out what you want to pay on a monthly overall net, because you have to, in addition to your mortgage payment, you have to think about tax, insurance, and if you're in an HOA, there's an HOA payment. So figure out what you're comfortable with, and then figure out what avenue and what loan works best for you. As Scott mentioned, if you do go a conventional route, you can go as low as 5%. If you do an FHA or a VA, you can do obviously 0% on the VA, but then 3.5% on the FHA. But one thing you want to also consider is if you're looking into a condominium or a townhome and you are VA or FHA, those have to be approved. And here in Orange County, you see about maybe 50 to 60% of them are actually approved, but then there's some that aren't. So if you want the list, if you are going an FHA route of 3.5% down, you want to get a list from your local realtor, or hopefully somebody within the Sackin-Stone team, on which homes and condos and townhomes that you can look at that are in fact FHA approved.
Absolutely. And as we close out the number one topic here on the path to home ownership, which is saving for that down payment, Lane hit, I think, on what is the most important thing. And that is, if you're currently renting right now, you already kind of have a budget. You know what your monthly nut is. If you're still living at home with parents, as a lot of first-time buyers are, you haven't set that up yet. But it's so important to figure out what is it that you think you can afford moving forward, getting into home ownership, because once you think what you can afford on that monthly payment, that's going to determine kind of where that loan amount is. And then when you think about the type of house and the budget for the house you want to buy, you'll be able to back into how much of a down payment you have. So it seems a bit complicated, but it really isn't. It's just a matter of kind of sitting down with pencil and paper or getting a little spreadsheet going and just kind of looking at those numbers ahead of time as you begin the savings path, and then looking at where will the down payment come from. Part of it should be savings, or could be savings for a lot of folks. Other folks, as we mentioned, are getting help from parents and grandparents and relatives. And it's very, very common in Orange County today with prices as high as they are. So it's always a conversation that's worth having if it makes sense within your family dynamic.
Yeah, and make sure that you have enough saved for your down payment, maybe a little bit in addition for closing costs, and a nice cushion left over if you have some minor repairs after you close as well. So make sure you have that overall savings and amount set for your comfort and your ability to be, just, I guess, go back to comfort, being comfortable in your home when you get the keys on day one.
Exactly.
But speaking of monthly payments, knowing your credit score, number two, that also will affect your monthly payment.
Absolutely. And as we all know, the higher your credit score, the lower of an interest rate you'll probably be able to qualify for. And in some cases, you have to have a minimum credit score just to be able to qualify to get a loan at all. And we know with Credit Karma, all the different apps that are out there today, credit scoring is on the top of everyone's mind, and it's in the forefront of information on a daily basis. So understanding your credit score is really important right away. And as we get further down the list and you start pre-approving with a lender, they'll be able to give you information with that. But to Lane's point, check out your credit score now right off the bat, because as you're in that savings mode, you could also be in that credit correction mode if there are some little issues or things that might inhibit you from getting that best rate.
Yeah, and when you look at different tiers, right? So if you're at 740 or higher, in most cases you're considered tier 1, you're probably going to have the best rate. Now, if you're borderline just a little bit lower than that, there are some things that you can probably do, and obviously lean on us for guidance and maybe help point you in the right direction for contacts. But you can probably maybe pay off a credit card or a car loan or something like that that'll get you into that tier 1 level, but you don't know until you kind of start to look into that. And then we are connected with lenders that have this rapid rescore option to get you that over that edge, so that way you can be that tier 1. So a lot of the apps that Scott was mentioning too, yes, are available to us. A lot of our credit cards now offer just kind of a general idea of where our credit scores are. If you feel you're kind of borderline, make sure that you can connect with us right away, because then we can figure out how to maybe get you over that hump to get you the best rate possible.
Absolutely. And even though it's further down the line to finding a real estate agent, as we can see a little hint of number 3 here, if you're tuned into us already as a client or considering working with the Sackin-Stone team, we're happy to almost get in before that number 1, kind of as an A, if you will, and be that consultant with regards to this. And one other thing with regards to credit score, we just had this happen with some clients. They've got advice from the lender that their credit score would be boosted up if they did pay a credit card off, and they actually had a little excess down payment. So they kind of looked at the numbers and realized by using part of that down payment to pay off a credit card, it boosted their credit score to get them into tier 1 and did not affect the ability to get the loan for the house. So again, it's looking at the whole picture and figuring out how do we move things around to create the best package going in as possible.
All right. Number 3, scroll down a little bit, find a real estate agent. If you're watching this video, you already found them. So I guess we can move on to number 4, right?
I think that's a great idea. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's a good step. Obviously, you want to do that early in the process, because real estate agents can help guide you with things that we were just talking about, like how to maybe get you over that edge if you are a little bit below that 740 level, and just kind of help do a map, if you will, of here's the best loan for you, or what we think is the best plan as far as here's the type of loan to get, your credit, everything like that, and just kind of give you a perfect guide and a perfect map to getting the ball rolling.
No, and to Lane's point too, again, kidding aside and so forth, if you have found that agent and you feel the Sackin-Stone team are going to be your trusted representatives as you move forward on this journey, we'd love to sit down and have what we call our initial consultation. And that would be even before step 1 on this infographic here, because we want to help you chart the course. As Lane's intimated already in several instances in our SnL show so far today, we have been doing this collectively for over 33 years, and we've seen so much, and we want to help you streamline the path as much as we possibly can. And even if you're a year or so out, having that initial consultation to help start the journey, it's our passion, and we just love to do that.
Yep. Okay, number 4, get pre-approved. Now, this is important too, because different banks, lenders, mortgage brokers, they offer different loans at different costs and rate structure. So make sure that if you may consider shopping around and getting the rate and cost structure and loan that's best for you. So getting pre-approved is really important. And you don't have to settle with the first pre-approval that you go with too, because you want to make sure that you have the best loan possible for yourself.
That's absolutely correct. And there are many different sources out there. There are what are called big box direct lenders, your B of A, your Chases, your Citibanks. There are credit unions. So many people belong to different credit unions, whether it's an employees, public employees credit union, teachers credit unions for large corporations. That's another option. And of course, we have referrals from our trusted network of mortgage bankers and mortgage brokers to help you along that path. It's always wise to get pre-approved ahead of time and maybe consult with a couple different folks to get a feel for where you are. And again, it's a people business. You're going to get comfortable with that sales representative, that mortgage rep, just like you're comfortable with your Sackin-Stone real estate professional, because we're all in this together. You're going to have to feel very comfortable because you're going to be providing them a lot of personal information. And it's very important to do that right up front. And one other thing to remember is there's a difference between a pre-approval and a sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Just Lane, you want to jump in?
Maybe like a pre-qualification.
Thank you. Pre-approval versus pre-qualification. And there's distinct differences with that. And when we go to present an offer for you and want to have all of our bullets in the gun, so to speak, we need that solid pre-approval. And Lane, why don't you go ahead and give a little insight onto what that pre-approval looks like and what few extra steps are required versus the pre-qual.
So yeah, when you get the pre-approval letter, they're going to look at all of your income information, your W-2, your tax returns, and all that good stuff. They're going to pull your credit. So you're going to be further along in the process than maybe just a verbal. Maybe you go as far as what's considered a DU approval, a department underwriting approval, where you've actually submitted an application with that broker or that lender, and they've already reviewed all of the paperwork, and you're basically just waiting for a home, a price, and an appraisal. And so when you're further along and you have maybe that DU approval and you start submitting offers, you are all of a sudden stronger as a buyer than somebody else who's just giving you a pre-qualification letter, because you provided that lender with more information, more documentation, and they've actually run your credit. One thing too about running your credit is when you're shopping around, maybe you want to shop around kind of close together in time, because if they run your credit multiple times and you're within a short window, they're going to look at that as if you are shopping, and you're going to get dinged on one credit pull as opposed to multiple. So be ready, like when you are ready to start shopping around for a lender, to kind of do that in a small window as well.
No, absolutely. And getting pre-approved is so important. And as we talked about having the bullets in the gun, that's probably a whole nother SnL show, right, Lane, as to how to best package the offer once you get to the point of presenting an offer on a house.
And I'm pretty sure we've done one in the past, maybe like a month or two ago. So yeah, if Stipe can do a little bit of digging, we can probably put that link onto this video as well, so you can see how to best structure your offer to succeed in this marketplace.
Absolutely. Great. Thanks for having a great memory, Lane.
Yeah, no problem. What's next? Find a home. Okay, find a home.
Right.
Lately, it's been kind of hard to do for some buyers, but it's inventory's pretty low, I would say right now. I think it's about in Orange County a little bit less than 2 months supply of inventory, and a neutral market is considered around 4. So we're about half of the supply of what's considered a neutral market. So there might not be as many homes available as there once was a year or two ago. But yes, now the next step is finding a home. You've gotten the pre-approval. They've pulled your credit. You're comfortable with your monthly payment. You've hired the real estate agent. Now let's go hunting. That's the fun part. Let's go out and see some homes.
And absolutely. And if I might regress a little bit from the earlier standpoint, when we have the initial consultation, we'll get a feel for where those neighborhoods are, the types of homes that you might be interested in. We'll start kind of creating a broad spectrum search. So when you get to that point where the pre-approval's in, the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, you're ready to literally put an offer in. We've done quite a bit of research so we can kind of funnel down to getting closer to finding the perfect home for you.
Yeah. And one thing, especially in this marketplace, to consider when we're looking at homes is if you're pre-approved, I'm just going to use round number, up to 800,000, it might be wise to kind of look at your max search about 10% below that. So look at around 720, 750, knowing that in a multiple offer situation, you might have to get bid up. And because if you're looking at something at 800,000 in this marketplace, and that's your max budget, and chances are there's going to be multiple offers, it could go higher than the 800 and you're already priced out of the market. So maybe if just kind of, when you're finding a home, you take that pre-approval and in this marketplace, at least go about 10% lower than that.
No, Lane's right on with that. Again, that's just the ebb and flow and how the marketplace changes over the years and the decades, because before, years ago, you generally would come in 10, 20% under the asking price and have a chance to get it. But now we are seeing the multiple offers, and we're having people really set realistic expectations. And if you're working with the Sackin-Stone team, we've got several other tricks up our sleeve to ferret out that perfect house that might not be on the open market yet. We'll save those secrets for actually when we do sit down with our clients. But we've got a lot of, again, tricks up our sleeve that we like to employ to try to increase the odds to find a home and have less competition.
That's the name of the game right now, especially. So now that you've found the home, Scott, what would be the next step?
Well, we're going to go ahead and make an offer. And as Lane mentioned, we've addressed that in detail, how to structure the offer that's going to give you the best odds to get accepted in a multiple offer situation. Believe it or not, we're still seeing minimum, usually 5 offers on a property and upwards of 15 to 20 in some cases. And we, as your agents, want you to win. So as we structure that offer, it's not just making an offer on a house, it's doing the homework ahead of time to package that offer to increase our odds that it gets moved to the top of the stack, that the listing agent, the agent representing the seller, is going to jump for joy, hopefully, when they see our offer and tell their sellers, we've got to talk to the Sackin-Stone team about this offer. We've got to respond to this offer. It's so attractive. And there's different ways that we package that.
And now it's packaged so well, it's so attractive that they accepted our offer. Yay, we opened escrow. What happens next? What's number 7?
Well, as we know, once we get accepted, it's like, winner, winner, chicken dinner, as we like to say. We are in escrow. And again, in California, the escrow is considered the process from contract acceptance to close when we turn over the keys. There's a time frame, which is the escrow process. And we are, quote unquote, in escrow, working with an escrow company and an escrow officer who's a neutral third party, facilitating both sides of the transaction, representing buyers and sellers equally. So there's going to be a few major steps along that escrow process that are super, super important. And as you see on our infographic here, we've got the first one, which is arrange for the home appraisal. Excuse me, I'm going backwards, which is our getting our home inspection. That's part of our investigation contingency time frame, which is generally anywhere from 5 to 17 days. And Lane, I'll have you elaborate just a little bit on what we're looking for when we want to get that home inspection done.
Yeah. Well, it says right there, address any hidden issues in the home with the seller. But yeah, because aesthetically, when we go to a home, we can look at it and it looks beautiful. But when you have that home inspection, they're testing everything. They're opening up every window, every drawer, testing all the plugs, looking at the major appliances and the major systems such as the HVAC, looking at the roof. And so you just want to make sure when you're buying the home that there aren't any major underlying issues, that that what the deferred maintenance could be down the road in the future. So all of those things are going to highlight every home, even new homes that we've had home inspections on. There's always something, but you want to make sure that they can easily be addressed and there's nothing major going on. And if there is, then now's another negotiation point in the escrow where you want to make sure that the sellers either give you a credit for the repair or get that done and get that properly taken care of before you close and get the keys.
Precisely. Lane is right on with that. And when we're making an offer on a property, we're kind of basing the value of the house on what's recently sold in the neighborhood that's similar condition, size, age, etc. And the offer is based on the flaws and the things that we can see that are readily visible. The job of the home inspector is to dig deeper, start peeling the layers away, if you will, and look for things that we can't see. And those are structural issues, perhaps things that are, if there's moisture or something underneath a cabinet hidden behind a lot of cleaning supplies, electrical issues. Those are the things that we can't see, and those could affect the ultimate value of the house and what you'd be willing to pay. And we want to know those things. So are we setting ourselves up for a little bit of more negotiation with a seller? Are we asking for them to repair things? The great thing is the inspection is an independent third party, and he or she is going to give us a nice roadmap of what we need to be looking at to feel confident moving ahead.
Yep. And speaking of independent third party, that might tie in with number 8 as well.
That is our home appraisal. And again, I apologize for getting out of order there. That is the kind of check, if you will, from the bank. The bank wants to make sure that the price that you have agreed to pay for the house is in line with their guidelines to get the loan based on your loan to value. And an appraisal is 100% independent. There are licensed appraisers that will perform this. And it's kind of what we call a forensic analysis, because the appraiser is going to be looking at homes similar to the one you're purchasing that have sold in the last 6 months within the same city. They will also do a little bit of an adjustment for market conditions.
Yeah, I mean, they look at 6 comparable sales usually, and the top 3 are weighed heavier. But yeah, within a mile radius, try to stay within the same community, plus or minus 10% square feet. They look and try to find adequate comparable sales and determine the value of the home. Now, in this marketplace, we are seeing a lot of times that buyers are having to write offers with no appraisal contingency. That doesn't mean that you're still not going to have an appraisal done. It just means that whatever the home appraises for, that buyer's still committed at paying the price that they had offered. So if they do have to come a little bit out of pocket to make up the difference in the event of a low appraisal, that's actually becoming pretty common in a marketplace that seems to be favoring the seller a little bit more, and as competitive as it is with a lot of competing offers. So with getting a home appraisal, that's just a big step that happens kind of maybe shortly after the home inspection, maybe around the same time as the home inspection, but that is ordered by whoever is issuing you the loan, and you'll get the results back usually within the first 2 weeks or less.
And absolutely, and to Lane's point, let's remember the inspection and the appraisal are part of our investigation contingencies. So there's no risk for the buyer during the timeframes when we're doing these investigations. And I want to reiterate a point that Lane's making because of the ebb and flow, the way offers and supply and demand changes over the decades. Right now, with multiple offers, we are seeing homes bid up, and we are seeing appraisals that don't come in at value. One thing that we do believe, for the most part, is the house is worth what a buyer is willing to pay and a seller is willing to take. And especially when we have such high demand and we have multiple buyers willing to bid up a property, that's indicative of a marketplace where the value there is absolute and it's seen. And so we want to educate buyers and have you understand that the appraisal is one indicator of value, but it is not the end all to be all. And if you get too locked up and, well, the bank has said it's worth this and I won't pay a penny more than that, you're most likely in this marketplace possibly going to set yourself up for just not getting a house.
Could be. So we've made an offer. We've had a home. We've gotten the offer accepted. We've had the home inspection. We received the appraisal. The appraisal's back in. Everything's good. I think we're ready to get the loan's good. We're ready to close the house, right? I mean, we're ready to, number 9, close the sale. One thing that you think about doing right before you close the sale is within the last 5 days, you're going to have what's called a final walkthrough. And if you negotiated any repairs during the course of escrow, that's when you're going to check in on those repairs. You're going to do one more tour of the home to make sure that home is in the same condition as it was when you first wrote the offer. So that way, if there's anything that was forgotten, or if there's anything that wasn't properly repaired, if there's new damages, that's something that you're going to know and have them do before you officially close escrow. One thing that you're also going to be doing during this time is you're getting ready for the utilities, maybe switch those into your name. You're also going to prepare that final down payment amount to bring to escrow, and now you're going to get ready to close the sale and get those keys.
Exactly. And to Lane's point, bringing that final down payment amount, that's going to be the difference between your down payment, your initial earnest money deposit, which is generally 3% of the sales price, and your actual down payment. And that will be generally wired in. And part of the closing process will be meeting with a notary public and signing all of your final loan papers. And that's a standard appointment generally done 2 to 3 days prior to the closing. And we are sometimes in attendance if our clients ask us to be, or we're standing by to answer any questions with regards to that. It's usually about an hour-long appointment. Again, signatures are notarized, documents are signed, and then the escrow company facilitates that along with the title company to get all of the closing package in place for the loan to fund and then the title to record in your name, which is the official closing.
Yep. So now we're officially closed. You know what that means? That means it's time to move in. You get the keys.
Yay. All right. And that is the party time. It's congratulations. And that's our favorite part of the escrow course, is when we can turn over the keys to our excited new buyers. And one thing that I will reiterate, as Lane does, is that this should be number 11. We, as your trusted real estate advisors, never ever disappear. We always say this is not a one-night stand, it's a marriage. We're here forever for the long term. Even if you never move again, we want to be your resource and help you, especially in the short term, acclimate, whether it's help with utilities being turned on, any service providers in the area that you might need for repairs, cleaners, you name it. Right, Lane?
Yeah, just like when you're buying a new car, you're kind of learning some of the features of it. You're just like that. When you move into a new home, you're going to get used to some intricacies of the home. Maybe you're going to learn some things about it that you didn't know. And so, and maybe you find that something might not be operating in the way that you felt like it should. And that's why we always negotiate for our buyers a 1-year home warranty. So that way that you have the comfort of knowing that major appliances aren't going to be breaking on you. And if they are, that you're covered in an event, if that's something like that would happen.
No, exactly. And the same goes with our, if one of our trusted home inspectors has been used on the transaction, part of their extended customer service plan is that they're available for you to answer any questions about the home, especially first-time homeowners. It's a little daunting. You get in there and you're thinking, oh, I don't remember how the sprinklers work or how to turn this on or that on. Our home inspectors kind of are standing by as an additional resource to help you through those things. So it's a fun time. It's an exciting time, that acclimation point, once you do get the keys.
Yep. So we spent, Scott, 25 minutes going over the path of home ownership. We had a really cool infographic up, and
Yep.
I want to let anybody know who's watching this right now that this infographic, this article, will be put up on our blog, sackandstoneteam.com/blog. We stay current. We try to post something every day or every other day, so that way you're completely in the know, and you have resources and tools such as an infographic for something like the path of homeownership.
And as always, we hope you found this informational and insightful. It was painting with a broad brush. Once again, there's so many nuances to the path to homeownership, and it goes without saying, we are standing by. We are that resource to answer any questions, whether you're 6 days, 6 months, or 6 years away from buying a home. We're here to help with the journey.
Thank you so much for watching, and hey, stay tuned for next week. We'll come back with another SnL show.
Stay tuned. Thanks so much for watching.